Well, the majority of cyber security experts and 4 in 5 business leaders fear a catastrophic cyber event is likely in the next 2 years. It's the troubling prediction made by the latest Global Cybersecurity Outlook report released by Accenture and the World Economic Forum. Joining me to explain more on this is Jacqui, Accenture's security lead for Australia and New Zealand. Thanks for your time. So, catastrophic. Presumably this is a lot worse than what we saw in Medibank Private. I mean, that's been catastrophic for some people, I suppose, but what's an example of something like that?
Well, it's a great question, actually, and it's such a broad answer to the question. But really, anything that has a really significant impact on infrastructure, roads, traffic control, air traffic control, physical security, water, energy, telecommunications, etc., or obviously, disruptions to financial systems. So any or all of the above could be catastrophic for us and for other countries.
Everything's linked, everything's online, everything's digital, and I guess that's great when it's working, but makes these systems more vulnerable. When we're predicting where this will happen, I suppose, because this is a global report, do you think Australia is vulnerable? Do you think Australia will be targeted, for example, the way we are standing up for China? Or is it just if you have weak systems, no matter what country you are, then you'll be targeted?
I think it's probably a bit of column A and a little of column B. I don't think Australia is less or more vulnerable than many other countries. Certainly in terms of infrastructure, we're kind of mid-range. Our cybersecurity awareness could be better as a country, and that's often because we're such a safe country. It's very safe to go to the corner shop at 3 a.m. in most places in Australia, not so much elsewhere, but we don't realise the internet is kind of like stepping into the middle of nowhere. You could be in a war zone in terms of what's going on. And the second thing, obviously, in terms of, where it would happen and are we more vulnerable, perhaps because we don't have the level of awareness and the level of technology investment here that some countries do, that does make us more susceptible for sure.
There's all the talk of how we better safeguard our systems, which is obviously, that's the best thing to do in terms of keeping things online, preventing this. What about systems in place or processes in place, assuming there is some sort of hack? Now, for some situations, maybe you can't have a backup. If your water system is hacked into, you're in trouble. But things such as airports, is there an technological approach, if you like? And one example I'll give you is when bushfires have gone through towns and ATMs are not working and so on, nobody has cash. Suddenly the whole system, grounds to a halt. Do we need to think of non-technological solutions as well?
Yeah, absolutely we do, and certainly more and more as we automate and automation, broadly affects more technology areas. As you've highlighted a really good one, which is the cash system. Doesn't work so well. Neither does you can't use your phone and Apple Pay, obviously, if telecommunications or the internet is down. Those systems obviously are vulnerable now, but as we automate more and more and put more systems online, we use technology, AI and operational technology automation in systems, those systems become vulnerable to cyber attack, just as they are now to physical attack or physical damage. So it's certainly something we need to think about, and really it means that every business needs to think about how they approach cyber resilience as a business imperative. It perhaps could have been ignored a little more when there wasn't so much of the core business of most Australian corporates online, but more and more that's becoming problematic just because of what we call in cyber the attack surface, the amount of stuff that's vulnerable to attacks from the internet or online.
So businesses need to be wary of that. What about individuals? I grew up with always needing to have candles, matches and so on in case the power went out, which used to happen more than it does now. Is there a modern day equivalent of that people can have a little kit? I don't know what it has in it. Cash, I guess. Still candles and still matches, but what else?
Yeah, cash, candle, matches, and really it's a little bit of a different game in that every time you think about giving out your data or someone asks you for your data, maybe think again. I annoy my friends, colleagues and people in shops by refusing to give out data all the time, but it does mean that there's less of my personal individual data online. I go out and delete my data when I need to put it into a system when it's no longer in use. And it's that, I guess, it's getting used to putting things away or not leaving them out where people can get them. But cash is a good idea, yes, definitely.
Yeah. Now, I've got to say, every time I check in at a hotel and they want all these details, I just say, do you really need them? And then suddenly they decide they don't. So I'm probably pretty annoying as well. Jacqui Kernot, thanks for your time.
Awesome, thanks. Good to see everybody onto it.
Exactly.